Sorry, not line 11, but line 13. All right. So it says, the royal daughter is all glorious within the palace. Her clothing is woven with gold. She shall be brought to the king in robes of many colors. The virgins, her companions who follow her, shall be brought to you. With gladness and rejoicing, they shall be brought. They shall enter the king's palace. All right. And so it sends us to song. Let me talk about this in 13. So the royal daughter is all glorious within the palace. So notice, and I don't want you to get confused because it's, I had to pray and ask God to reveal this to me because I was kind of not sure of, what the psalm was really entailing. Yes, we know that it's the psalm of the great king. All right. But then when it sent us to Song of Solomon and talking about, all of this with the breasts and stuff like that and stuff, is like, I really, really need some clarification, Lord, on this. All right. And this is what, he is showing me is that, yes, Jesus is the king. And like we talked about that in book 1 about he is the King of glory. All right. Now, check this out. And every king must have a queen, right? And so the queen for Christ is the church of Jesus Christ. And so we are the bride of Christ. Christ is our bridegroom, and we are the bride of Christ. And so, and once, he comes back and get us, then we would, it's almost like when he talked about in the New Testament about the marriage supper of the Lamb, all right, and it's just that the church and the King and our Savior coming together, not like we're consummating a marriage with a husband and a wife, but it's like that union that we're coming together. And so what it is, just by God's wisdom and providence and insight, how the Songs of Korah wrote this song, all right, and put it in a way so that we can see it like a king and a court and a queen and all this other stuff. But it really is metaphoric for Christ and the church. And so when we look at Psalm 13. Let's go into Psalm 13 again, where it says, a royal daughter is all glorious within the palace. Okay. Her clothing is woven with gold. She shall be brought to the king in robes of many colors. All right. The virgins, her companions who follow her, shall be brought to you. And that sends us to Song 1:4 that says, lead me away, or draw me away, we will run after you. The king has brought me into his chambers. We will be glad and rejoice in you. We will remember your love more than wine. Okay, so as you can see, that it's almost like it's a love affair. Okay, and Christ loved his church because he gave his life for the church. And that's what, reading in Ephesians, I think that is. Thank you, Lord. Ephesians 6. 5. Where it says, Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. Just like the virgins and stuff that we were just reading about. Okay, so husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself, for no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church. And that's what God does for us. He cherishes and he loves the church. All right. Just like a husband, You know, that's why, you know, Satan attacks marriages, because marriages, true marriages between a man and a woman, okay, depicts the relationship of Christ and the church. And so, and that's why you have marriages, 1 out of 2 marriages end in divorce, okay, because that's an attack from Satan to make Christ look bad, as, you know, being, you know, the head of the church. Okay, so it's all an attack, you know, on Jesus. All right, now going back to Psalm, okay, so it's saying that, and look at boy, that time went so fast. All right, let's go ahead and break here, and then we'll pick it up in the last stanza and close it out.